Well, we have today, besides our calendar and everything else that's going on, we are the only church in this country, on this planet, that starts its services with the Doobie Brothers. Only one. I will almost guarantee it. Nobody's told me otherwise. And one of the people in Doobie Brothers, I can't remember which guy it is, he's 68 years old today, so it's his birthday. So, happy birthday, dude! And even though they are a San Jose band, and we've had so many wonderful British rock groups. I mean, good grief, the British Invasion. What a great time that was. My goodness, and still have wonderful, wonderful British people. We have one of our favorite Brits that have come back to take a hi to us. And Norma is back after 9 years to say hi. Hi, Norma. So we love her to death. So we say hi to her. I think you do watch it on YouTube, don't you? Or sometimes maybe?
Not on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're on YouTube, so if you want.
Now I know.
Yes. Okay. So, lots of stuff going on. Today's the 9th. Oh, coming over the 240 bypass and all the poplar trees, they're starting to turn. Oh. The people that are sad to see summer to go away and the people that are happy that winter's coming. Okay, oneness blessing. We were in the back and are going to be oneness blessing after services. So if you want a oneness blessing, please take advantage of that. That's a wonderful thing. Emotion code tomorrow on Monday. Essential oils with Cindy on Tuesday. Introduction to Qigong, Mary Ann on Wednesday. And I'm going to just read something for that. The monthly Qigong class is Wednesday at 6:30 here. And have a feature of special meditation. Mary Ann says this is the most powerful and magnificent guided meditation she's ever experienced. It is called Finding Your Soul Purpose and is guided by Spring Forest Qigong Master Shung Lin. That's probably mispronounced. The meditation is about an hour long and truly helps you to tap into your heart, your soul, and the universe. You're all invited on Wednesday, so that'll be fun. Cool things. Thursday is, Janice is going to do the Sedona method. I assume that's you. Is your brother? Is your brother going to work with you on that? Okay, so Janice and her brother are going to be talking about the Sedona method. ARE meets on Thursday. And what the heck is this? One day this coming week, there's nothing going on Friday. That's great. I love seeing a calendar like this. On Saturday is Intuitive Tarot Workshop. That's also Janice, and if anybody's interested, that is a start of an 8-session class. So, I mean, it's a full deal meal. If you're interested in this kind of stuff at all, talk to Janice. So this will be probably the one and only time you'll ever do this. So, who knows, but...
Yeah.
What, do you want to say something?
While you were reading the calendar, Marcus was in the back waiting.
He was. Hi, Marcus. Marcus. Hi. He's going to be. Don't tell him. He's going to be 1 year old next Sunday. Or at least we're going to celebrate next Sunday anyway. So okay. All right. So stuff going on. That's wonderful. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. When a decision has to be made, make it. There is no totally right time for anything. George Patton. So, all right. Things that make you go, Many men are like unto sausages. Whatever you stuff them with, that is what they'll bear. One does what one is. One becomes what one does. And look for the ridiculous in everything, because you'll find it. All right, we do have a couple patron saints by the name of John Lennon and George Carlin. So, and I guess you can't get any more British than that, huh? So, yeah. And John said, "I believe that time wounds all heals." And George When will Jesus bring the pork chops? This title offends all three major religions, even vegetarians. And speaking of major religions, for the folks of the Jewish faith, happy Rosh Hashanah. That starts tonight, for Happy New Year. So, the CBS News magazine 60 Minutes is the only television show that does not have a theme song. The intense ticking of a stopwatch suffices as the show's trademark theme. So, earth-shattering news. You probably couldn't have lived without that information. More t-shirts and sweatshirts. You know, I've not had a single person come and say, Phil, where can I get a t-shirt like that? Probably some with good reason. Sometimes I meet people and feel bad for their dog. Sometimes I wake up grumpy, other times I let her sleep. Sometimes I wake up grumpy and other times I let him sleep. Yo, fish, bite me. It says. I did that one. Don't want to do it twice, that's for sure. What is a grandparent? 8-year-olds. They don't say hurry up. They wear glasses and funny underwear. They can take their teeth and gums out. Grandparents don't have to be smart. They have to answer questions like, why isn't God married and how come dogs chase cats? And when they read to us, they don't skip. They don't mind if we ask for the same story over and over and over and over again. Or the same movie. How many of them come over and they always want to watch the same movie over and over again? So, yeah. Grandkids are great. What was this? Why did I do this? Oh, this is just silliness. Imagine that. One year, a husband decided to buy his mother-in-law a cemetery plot as a Christmas gift. The next year, he didn't buy her a gift. When she asked him why, he replied, well, you still haven't used the one I bought you last year. And that's how the fight started. Yeah. Okay, I have done this one before. If you've done it, if you've heard this one before, it means you've been with us since 2008, or I think I've done it once or maybe even twice between that time period, but it's been a while. Guy's driving around the backwoods of Tennessee and sees a sign in front of a broken down shanty-style house said, "Talking dog for sale." He rings the bell and the owner appears and tells him the dog is in the backyard. The guy goes into the backyard, sees a nice-looking Labrador Retriever sitting there. "You talk?" he asks. "Yep," the lab replies. After the guy recovers from the shock of hearing a dog speak, he says, "So, what's your story?" Well, the lab looks up and says, "Well, I discovered I could talk when I was pretty young. I wanted to help the government, so I told them. In no time at all, they had me jetting around the country, from country to country, sitting in rooms with spies and world leaders because no one figured a dog would be eavesdropping. I was one of their most valuable spies for 8 years running. But the jetting around got me tired out. I knew I wasn't getting any younger, so I decided to settle down. I signed up for a job at the airport as some undercover security, wandering near suspicious characters and listening in. I uncovered some incredible stuff and was awarded a bunch of medals. I got married, had a mess of puppies, and now I'm retired." The guy is amazed. He goes back in, asks the owner what he wants for the dog. $10, the guy says. $10? That dog is amazing. What on earth are you selling him so cheaply for? Well, because he's a liar. He never did any of that stuff. There you go. What'd you do at the church today? Oh, I talked about lying, talking dogs. Hey, Hey, we're going to sing a song. I almost had it. Jimmy Cliff. What was that old song? I Can See Clearly Now. Well, Toby's all happy. She's sitting in a chair on the end aisle. I was going to say something this morning because Jan has a message today that she's been struggling with all week. It's one of those messages that is difficult for her to do, so she can obviously do the best job she can, which she always does. It's also one of those messages that's like, well, wait a minute. This is not something you should be talking about in church. Well, unless maybe if you don't talk about it here, it doesn't get talked about. So, we'll find out how this one goes, huh? Thanks, honey.
Here. And with that build up,
Is that good enough?
that's, yeah,
She never
thank
knows
you.
what I'm going to say.
I know.
Nice outfit.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh no, here it is again. You sounded really good. I can't tell you what the other ones I've heard recently were amazing. We could have a chorus or something.
You don't have to sound surprised.
She said I didn't have to sound surprised. Oh goodness. Oh, I love laughter. Thank you so much for that. So you all have a handout? Okay. If you don't, Phil, there's the stack of handouts on the back. Would you make sure everybody gets one? So, here's my conundrum. Other than Phil. Can you do, no, I got one, thanks. I'm packing. Just give me a second here, would you? Okay, first of all, let me tell you, the reason this is so hard is that this is not a joyful, happy, fun subject. And I'm kind of a happy, joyful, fun person, and I like to keep things happy, joyful, and fun. So to talk about something really, really serious is extremely important. It's extremely important. At the same time, I feel totally unqualified. Totally unqualified. People here are like, I'm not aware. So from my perspective, I'm going to share with you some insights based on my come from. If it doesn't fit for you, that's fine. I'm not here to tell you what to think or what to believe. I'm here to help you ask questions. I want you to be able to think. My job is to just get you to think. And what you do with that is up to you. But what happens is, sometimes we think with our mind and not with our heart and spirit. Our mind tries to tell us things that aren't true, based on feelings, emotions, and our own wants, our own needs, our own come from. So sometimes the information that we get is conflicting from our own self. Your heart's telling you one thing, your head's telling you something else. And then there's this underlying spiritual part of you that knows a whole different truth. Today, I want to align those for you. And if they don't line up, keep thinking about it. Process it out. This is about you finding your answers. This is about you finding your way. Not about me telling you what way to go. I think that's the one reason why Phil and I left a mainstream church and started our own, is we got tired of them telling us what to think and what to believe. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to think. and find what your truth is, because the truth shall set you free. And I want you to be free. I want you to be free. And along with that freedom comes this beautiful energy of joy. And from someone who has been enslaved by their own sorrow and their own pain, and now to be someone who is free and joyful, I'd love to give that to you. And I would love to just have this magic wand. I go, ting, 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 and you would have it. It doesn't work that way. What works is for you to be aware and bring yourself to your own level of truth. And voila, there you are. And that part's magical. And what the magical part about all of that, and the part that's really fascinating, is that when you get it, everything aligns. Your mind is in harmony with your heart is in harmony with spirit, your spirit is in line with your mind, it all fits, and you're unstoppable. And that's what I want for you. That's what I'm hoping to share with you today. And I gave you a little handout. Those of you on YouTube, there's a black line that looks like a heartbeat. Okay? And then there's some other lines, and I'll get to them in a second. This heartbeat line is what happens when we get caught in, gosh, I have a hard time talking about this stuff, so please forgive me for that. Cruelty. Have you ever had somebody say something to you that was belittling? Belittling. They wanted you to be littler than you really are. That's cruel. Now let me be really, really clear here. Cruelty can take lots of forms that we can deal with and that I'm talking about here. If cruelty has evolved to the point where there's violence, violence is a whole other story. Get a plan, get out, get safe. Get a plan, get out, get safe. I say get a plan because if you wait until you're in trauma, you won't have a plan, you won't be able to do anything. Get a plan. Get out. I say get out because you'll wait until things are eased up, and then it's like, oh, well, you know, if I was just a better person, it wouldn't happen. No. Get a plan, get out, and get safe. Violence is against the law. It's against the law of God and against the law of humankind. Get a plan, get out, get safe. Enough of that. What do I say?
Get a plan, get out, get safe.
Okay. If you can't figure out a plan, ask somebody. Ask. Seek and you shall find. You know, good book works. Okay. So, heartbeat stuff. We're talking about cruelty. And cruelty can take a lot of different forms. We're talking about this belittling cruelty that people do to one another, humans do to one another. Oh, Facebook is terrible for this. Yeah. Isn't it awful? Families are terrible for this. We do this to each other. It's awful. And what happens here is when we get caught in this cycle, we end up diminished, depleted, and exhausted and drained. And I want you to move beyond that. So no matter what's going on in your world, you'll have positive energy and you won't fall into that entrapment. Okay? So as we're looking at this heartbeat, you'll see a black line comes along and then there's this uptick. When it's flat like this, a person who utilizes cruelty in their life is someone who is really hurting. And they're cruising along, they're barely head above water. And the pain is so great. And then they come along and they just can't take it anymore. You see this uptick? They'll find some reason to pick at you, get mad at you, and then the down drop, they will download their pain onto you while sucking your energy. And then they rebound. Oh, well, let's go to dinner. Let's get ice cream. What's wrong with you? Why are you so glum? I'm in a really good mood. Let's do something wonderful. Let's take a trip. Let's do all these wonderful, fun things. And in the meantime, you're kind of dragging along. And then you're not coming along as fast as they want you to. And then they're flat line again. Rinse, wash, and repeat. They do, and then the cycle keeps back again. Now the blue line is the victim. So the blue line, the victim has their own issues. They're struggling, come along. And then when there's this uptick, and they receive all this download of energy, negative energy, because they're not just belittling you and they do take your energy, but not only are they taking your energy, they're downloading all their pain. And when they download their pain, sometimes they catch us off guard. And things could be cruising along, everything's fine. And then out of the blue, here something happens. And it's just knocks us flat. And then notice the blue line, you're crashed, and they're up, and hey, let's go do this other stuff. And then there's the flat line way at the bottom, and then they kind of crawl out of that. Now let's talk about that crawling out of that pit. Because sometimes when we're crawling out of that pit, we vent negative energy. Slam a kitchen cabinet, yell at the dog, yell at the neighbor dogs. But we'll do things, and sometimes they're not pleasant. They're unkind also. And then we get ourselves back up to normal, just about the time something else will happen again. There's a better way. There's just a better way. So I'm going to share with you a better way. And that's the green line. And then there's a purple line above that, and we'll get to that in a minute. But here's the green line. Cruising along. When the outburst happens, see that X? That's when you're aware. And you go, oh, look, here it is again. Let me tell you, one of the most beautiful gifts Phil ever gave me was when I was in this cycle, and old pain came to the surface, and I started to take it out on him. He put his hands on my shoulder, looked lovingly into my eyes, and he said, "This is not my stuff." Gently removed his hands, turned and walked away. Best gift ever. Thank you for that, Phil. Because then I could see, it had nothing to do with him. I was just on overload. And I could shift. I could take a minute to shift. And I did. Because I didn't want to get caught in that vicious cycle again, because it never goes away. Never goes away. So it gave me that gap, that moment to think and process. And then I could just keep going on with my life. Now here's the thing. I had to take notice of that and get help. When you're walking around and you're up to here and you're drowning in your own sorrow, get help. There's tons of things out there that can assist. Emotion code. We've got emotion code coming up Wednesday night. Marianne does RIM. I wrote it down because I knew I'd forget it. Tomorrow night. Didn't I say that? Regenerating image and memory.
Regenerating images and memory.
Okay. Tapping, emotion code, NET, prayer. And have you ever prayed with a group? Oh gosh, that's powerful stuff. You get a group of people together and you pray for 21 days about a particular subject. Powerful stuff. The world shifts, the world changes. When two or more are gathered in his name. There you go. It's powerful stuff. I know I'm forgetting. Josie does the process. There's all kinds of ways to get clear. Talk therapy, get clear. You don't have to carry the burden of it all. Okay? Get clear. And in the process of getting clear, you don't have to get sucked under by somebody else. That make sense? When we're in the blue line, and you've had all this download of negative energy, and they've taken your energy to fly high. It's like you put water in a tube that's shaped like a U, water will balance itself out. And if somebody's really, really hurting, they're going to want to suck your energy so they can come up a little bit. And you go down a little bit, and they feel better. Make sense? It's natural. It's normal. This is not about shame and blame. This is about recognizing what's going on. And it may have nothing to do with you. They may have nothing to do with you, like what was going on with me and Phil. It had nothing to do with him. I had taken a potluck dish to work, And he had stirred it, and it didn't need to be stirred. And you mess up the layers when it's stirred. And so I was like, oh, because somebody in my past intentionally would ruin something I would take to a group gathering. Intentionally. And I was triggered. Those trigger points happen. And here's the thing with trigger points. Those trigger points are such a blessing from God because they're saying, here it is again. Take a look. And what's wonderful if you can heal this one, sometimes they avalanche like dominoes, and they all clear. So whatever coming up, clear it. Have this stupid thing. You're going to hate me, and I love it.
All clear. All clear. All clear. All clear. All clear. All clear. All clear.
Whenever you feel like you're up to here,
All clear.
get all clear. Just wipe what's off the slate. There's a little button. You have an internal button that allows it to be.
All clear.
And that.
Do it again.
No, don't.
All clear.
See, you gotta laugh about stuff. Laughter is a great all clear. Laughter is a great all clear. And we have in the past probably used the slamming of the door, the critical words that we say, as a method to get all clear, that we think we're getting all clear. We're not. We're just perpetuating this energy that keeps us locked and blocked. I want you to notice, as we're talking about this X, and we have this little bit of a gap. In Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15, choose for yourselves today whom you will serve. No, Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters. You will either hate one and love the other, or hold to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon or riches. And be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving each other, just as God in Christ has forgiven you. It's a choice. You can choose to be a victim. You can choose to allow another person to download their sorrow onto you. In the past, it wasn't choice because it was just happening, and you weren't aware. Now that you're aware, you can choose. You can choose to allow it to happen, or you can choose to just be the sacred observer. Being the sacred observer allows you to notice this person is downloading without being sucked into it at all. And what happens if you don't suck it up? Where does that energy go? It's just energy. Where does it go? Everywhere. You may have to clear the space with crystals or energy or incense or sage or whatever, but it dissipates. Now I want to teach you how to allow someone to vent safely. Okay? It's called the 2-minute whine. Some of you have seen me do this to you. Okay, you're on the clock. Because everybody needs to unload once in a while. It's just not fair. It doesn't work. I don't like it. This is not how you deal with the old trauma that's up to here. But it's like, if you don't, this just didn't happen, I don't like it. You get to vent, but 2 minutes. If you can talk about something for 2 minutes, I tell you, this is the hysterical thing. Once you start talking and whining for 2 minutes, by the end of 2 minutes, you're all talked out. I can't go a full 2 minutes and whine. You can't. You just can't. And not keep up with it. You can, if you have somebody that's commiserating with you, and yes, and and then this other, and can build on that. But if you're clearing your energy and you have a 2-minute vent, and you've got a sacred observer that is watching that, then they can feed back to you. Not how to fix it. They're not rescuing you. They're not making your world okay, but they can feed back to you that I love you anyway. Last week we had someone come forward and they were pretty upset. And Phil stood next to them, and Marlena came up and stood next to her. And she spoke her truth. She said, I'm so angry. Truth. That was a vent. But it was done healthy. It was done well. It was clear energy. It was pain, but it was clear energy. And nobody took it in. I checked. Nobody took it in. You were all clear. Marlena then, she didn't rescue her. She didn't take her pain away from her. She said, you're brave. And you both felt really good after, we all felt really good after that. It was beautiful. That's how you help someone. Rescuing them, telling them how awful that other person was, or what a terrible thing that is. We don't do that. We honor them in that sacred space of, yes, I get ya. I hear that that's a sorrow, that's painful. I hear you. Don't fix it. Don't be the rescuer. That's just another path of hell. In that process, you all hold sacred ground. And everybody is healed. It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing last week. When we don't clear our pain, and we're in this blue line and we're working our way back up again, and we've been downloaded with other people's anguish, that can manifest itself in ill health, sleeplessness, our own trauma, confusion, brain fog, fatigue. Sound familiar? Okay, so how do you clear all of that? Maybe you received that download years ago and you're still carrying it. Okay, let's do a guided meditation and we'll clear some of that stuff. Does that work for you? All right. Oh, this is hard work. Is it hard work for you to hear it? It's hard work for me to say it. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to point out that before...
Microphone.
Before coming here, I did not recognize that I had choice. And that's one of the most powerful things that I've learned from Janice, is that we all have choice. And that it was gifted to us by God, or Divine Spirit. And I find myself using the word choice a lot. And I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And that reminds me, I left out a line. And that's that top purple line. That's the line of an ascended path. So that even when others even when you're doing this sacred ground, you can observe it, but you're not in the middle of it. When we're in the middle of it, or when we're starting to learn how to make choice about this for ourselves, we're still caught up in the cycle. But after a while, it gets to be much easier, much clearer. And you can still stop and give people time for their sacred venting, their 2-minute whine, and hold your sacred ground and not feel a disturbance in the energy waves at all. Not that you're above it or you don't feel compassion for other people. No, your compassion then has the ability to work. Because when we're sucking somebody else's energy up, even though it feels like we should take their energy, make them feel better. No. Let them have it. Let them do their own thing. Okay, so there's another thing. Okay, so by allowing them their sacred ground and their process, we're respecting their journey and giving them choice, which is a beautiful thing. A lot of times people don't have choice because they're so caught up in the cycle. But if we stop reacting the way we have always reacted, then we give them a moment of choice, because it's like, oh, this is different. And they can shift out of that. So if somebody is venting and you're in a place where you can't give them a 2-minute whine, say, oh, you're on the clock, like a boss or something, you can vent the energy, and keep it away from you. If you put right hand in front of you, left hand behind, energy hits this hand. It's hard to do this in an office, but you could, whatever. Just let that energy hit, or just be aware that the energy is hitting your energy field, Teflon, and away from you. It's not your stuff. Like Phil, putting his hands on my shoulders. This is not my stuff. This is not your stuff. It's their downloaded energy. You do not have to take it. Even if you have in the past. You're not obligated or expected to take that. Even if you have a compassionate heart and don't want them to suffer. It's their journey. Let them have it. By short-circuiting their journey, you're depriving them of choice. Get out of God's way. Okay? Thank you for bringing that choice up. So let's do a guided meditation.